Hey, you know what today is? It's Kelsey's birthday, but it's also Mother's Day. And it's so awesome just to think back about how wonderful it's been to celebrate Mother's Day. And you can't really have Mother's Day if you don't have kids around. And I've been blessed in my life to have some of the most awesome nieces and nephews. And I was inspired by Kendra when she was born, and her birthday was just a short time ago. But I was inspired by her to write this, and I wanted to share it with you today. The name of this is called Holding Kendra. Is there anything more powerfully human than holding a baby? I can't imagine what it would be. When Kendra, my great niece, was born, her mother and father allowed me to be in the delivery room. I felt honored and overwhelmed to witness her first breath. There is much preparation that goes into making sure that a new baby comes home to a perfect environment. Kendra's homecoming received great attention to detail by her mommy and her daddy. She arrived just 10.5 short months after her big sister, Kelsey. But in spite of all the planning, Kendra's parents could not have foreseen the unexpected twist that occurred just a few days after their baby arrived. Though Kendra was born perfectly healthy, the week following her birth, everyone else in her family came down with a terrible strain of the flu. She had been home from the hospital less than 24 hours when her mother called me crying. "We need help. All of us are sick with fevers, diarrhea, and vomiting. We're so afraid Kendra will catch it. Can you come?" I drove the few short hours back to their hometown near Louisville, where I had just been 48 hours earlier for her birth. There was no exaggeration regarding the flu crisis. They were all very ill. And I was their emergency relief. As bad as it was for all of them, there was no greater job in the universe for me. For 2 days, while her entire family remained quarantined at one end of the house, I spent every hour with the newest sprout on our family tree. I had Kendra all to myself. I had anticipated her arrival for 9 months. I showed up for her number 0 birthday, but she and I hardly knew each other. I wasn't her mommy, and as she peered up at me, she probably wondered, "Who is this?" I couldn't believe that I could feel so much love for someone I barely knew. Her soft dark hair framed her black Bambi eyes. She smelled newer than fresh baked bread, and I found it impossible to lay her down. I held her in my arms for hours and watched her expressions pucker and twist in between dreams. She threw her little arm up over her head and tucked her cheek into the inside bend of her elbow. It would be months before I would hear her struggle to say the endearing words, "Nee Nee." It would be even longer before she would beg me to stay in the swimming pool with her an extra 10 minutes so she could leap from the edge, dunk under the water, and come up at me with arms and legs flailing. Someday, we would talk about what she wanted for Christmas, her favorite color, or what she wanted to be when she grows up. But right then, none of that mattered. Right then, I loved her for who she was at that moment. I imagined the woman she would become. I already knew we would love each other beyond measure. I would treasure the sound of her voice, her crayon masterpieces, and her hugs. Someday, I would have much to tell her. I would need to let her know that her Uncle Bobby could fold anything out of paper. Her cousin Shelby could teach her about whales and dogs and sugar gliders. Her big sister would be a great friend who would play games with her, read books to her, dress her up, and teach her all the ropes. She needed to be advised never to compliment one aunt's cooking over another, and she should be informed that her Italian uncles, by tradition, would surely make her wine on her 16th birthday. Yes, the days ahead would hold such promise, but at this point in time, my greatest priority was simply holding her. As I held Kendra, I knew I was holding the future. The possibilities were endless. I was holding a student of laws which had not yet been written, a scholar of technologies which had not yet been imagined. I was caressing little feet that would travel to places my eyes would never see. The tiny fingers wrapped around my pinky would someday gather flowers, pen letters, protest injustice, wipe away tears, and point to the stars. The warm eyes peering up at me would gaze upon skyscapes and sunsets. They would stare into the face of danger, and they would pierce the heart of a lover. The days of Kendra's life would overlap mine for as long as God would allow. Then the rest would be up to her. It's hard to imagine that everyone I know started out this way, precious, helpless, and straight from God. What an awesome privilege to cradle my arms beneath a fresh new life, planned by God, uniquely created, protected in the womb, and delivered into a complicated world. An opportunity like this is a prelude to the responsibility entrusted to those who hold a baby. It is an event that happens much too seldom, even for a mother. So, hold a baby. Feel the weight of responsibility. Be awed by the miracle of life. Touch creation. Savor the moment. Etch it in your heart forever, for it will flee much too quickly. I love you, Kendra. God bless you.